Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into an exciting new feature introduced in .NET 8 that significantly enhanced dependency injection, that is known as DI. If you've been following along, you know that DI is a cornerstone of building maintainable and testable applications. With .NET 8, Microsoft has introduced several enhancements that make DI even more flexible and easier to manage, especially when dealing with multiple service implementations in your Web API projects. Let's first set the stage with a common scenario so that you can understand this very well. Imagine you are developing a Web API for an e-commerce platform. You have various payment processing systems or services to integrate, such as PayPal, Stripe, and Square. So here you're having three payment methods. Each service has its own implementation, and you need to switch between them based on the client's choice or other business logic. Before .NET 8, managing these multiple implementations often required a lot of boilerplate code and could become quite cumbersome. With .NET 8, Microsoft has introduced some fantastic new features to streamline this process. One of the key improvements is the ability to easily configure and manage multiple service implementation. This means you can effortlessly switch between different services without writing a lot of repetitive code, making your code base cleaner and more maintainable. So by the end of watching this video, you will have a solid understanding of how these new features in .NET 8 can simplify your life as a developer. You will also see practical examples of how to implement this and configure multiple services in your Web API project, making your applications more flexible and now easier to manage. So let's get started. There are several ways of implementing this. Now we want to talk about one of them, and that is using key dependency injection. Now, key dependency injection allows the registration and resolution of multiple implementations on an interface based on a unique key. So you're going to create an interface in here, a simple interface with two or more implementations. Now, when registering this, you're going to give each dependency injection a specific key. This key is going to be unique. Anytime that you want to use that DI, all that you should do here is to get the key service and I'll pass it on the key that you provided, and simply you have that service at hand. This is very simple as well. So let's see. I have a simple solution here. I have a demo new features in DI with Web API. That is the name of the project, but never mind. So here you can see we have two projects. That's the two API projects added. So the next one is going to mimic like an external service. So we can make a call to local service and also an external service. So I have two projects created, and you can also do same. I haven't done anything to it, so that's the default one when you create .NET Web API project. That is what you see. Okay, so in this project, I'm going to create a folder, and I'll name it at services. So with the service that we're going to create, we're going to just read weather forecast. We want to read weather forecast locally and now externally. So external is where we connect to our Web API 2 as an external service. And now we're going to read it locally as well. So let's create a simple interface. We're going to handle these two implementations. So I'm going to create a class. This is actually an interface. And I'll say I read, a very simple one. Now we are returning an enumerable of weather forecast. So I'll put it here. It's a very simple interface that we are creating. Okay. Now in that, we can also create, that is, a class here. So let's create two implementations. And now the implementation, the first implementation is going to read from the local. So let's have it done here. So I have this implementation, and you can see it is inheriting, or it is inheriting from this, implementing this iRead interface, which is only a method that we have created. And here we just delay it for 2 seconds. Then we want to return a enumerable of weather forecast. So this is just the default weather forecast data when you create controller or when you create a new web API. That is what you see. I believe you've remembered, isn't it? Now let's implement another one. And now this time around, we're going to read from external source. So I have a simple implementation here. So we can read from external source. So you can see from here too, we have the same. It's a class read from external. And now here we are passing in an HTTP client. Then we heard from this interface. We implement it. And now we delay for 4 seconds. Then we call this service. So in order to get this service, I think we have to check the IP of this. So let's check the address of the service and our service. We go to the property tab, and now from LAN settings, we can have the HTTPS. This is the 7198. Let's grab that. And now we can just have it here. Okay. So this is what we are doing. So you see we are having two methods which are implementing the same interface. So if I control period, now let's just move this, extract this, or move to class. Let's move this as well. Okay, so in the world of dependencies, you can see that here we are going to register this interface to the various implementations. This could not move. Move type to yes. So if I go to services, I have read from external and I read from local. So as I was saying, in the world of dependency injection, that is DI, anytime that I register an interface, which comprises of the interface and the implementation, the last one is going to be used. So let's see, if I go to my program.ts, and on here, let's register this. So based on the other, the last one will be used. So be that services dot, let's make it a scope. So I read, and here we are saying that this is read from external. Let's do the same thing to the other one. Read from local. Now you see that I have two here registered. Now in the order, you know, this is 1. That's the order, that's the first, and that is the second, isn't it? But this is going to be the last one. So in the dependency container, this will be the last one or the current one in it. This will come first before this. Okay. Now if I call this one, let's see what happens. So inside the controller here, now inside this weather forecast controller, you're going to implement this service. So we can remove this one. Let's remove everything that we have. Okay, so we have this. Now what are you going to do? Let's inject the service so we can implement primary constructor. So let's do this I read, and this is read interface. So with this read interface, we are going to return read interface dot then get forecast. Okay, now let's see. This cannot, so we have to, let's make this as task. Then let's make it as okay. Let's continue on action results. Alright, so you see that we are returning this. Now we have to await the interface. Now you see we are returning this method. So here, this interface has the implementation and it is bound to each of them. Now, when we run this, let's see what happens. So here we need to first go to our program. Now let's register HTTP client. So .services.add HTTP client. Now let's run this and check it out. The endpoint is ready. So if I click on try local, let's see what happens. You can see that here we haven't connected the external service. Here we get it from, this is a local, and now here it is calling the point from local. How do we know that we are getting the service? Let's see. So from our application, we go to the interface or the implementation. In here we have two implementations. Let's have a look. So from here is the read external. Let's put breakpoint to this, not this one. Okay, or even here will be okay. And aside from that, let's go to read from local. Now let's put breakpoint. When you go to program.cs file, you can see that read from local, it is the latest one, right? So this is going to get caught because in the other, that is in the container, this just came. Now let's see it again. Now if I click on this, you can see that read from local has been called. What of maybe in case you want to implement an external? That is where the problem comes in. But with the new introduction of .NET 8, you can see there's a new feature we can use, that is using the keyed scope. So keyed service. Let's see. So in the program, let's continue to finish this. How do you handle this easily? All that you can do is to assign a key to this. So go to the program, and on here, let me override this. Then assign key. Here, what you're using here is you're using key scope. You can use key transient or key singleton. Then you specify your interface and implementation as you did already. And now here, the neat thing here is to specify the key. This key is what we're going to be using to retrieve it. So I have a local read, I have an external read. Once I'm done with this, all that I need to do here is go to the interface. Go to the controller in here. And now, instead of doing this, I can specify this with very simple method. Let's see how to go about that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove all this and I'll replace what I have. Now you see we are using this keyed service. And now this keyed service, you want to grab the local read. That is the key that we use when creating the DI between the interface and the implementations. So creating an interface here means you want to grab a copy of local read service and the interface. External read here tells you that you want to grab a copy of external read service with the interface. Good. So you see we are creating separate interfaces here. Now let's have another method. So local, and now we have an external. Now read from the local and I read from service, external service. So in order for us to know that you're reading, let's go to the service, and that's what you're going to be doing. Read from local. You want to read only 10. Okay, so 10 from local. Now when you go to the external service, we want to read more than 10. So from external service, we want to read more than that. So we can do that from the external service controller. And now in here, we want to delay this. So maybe we can delay something here a little bit. So await tags, but delay. We can delay maybe 4,000. Oh, this should be here. Yes, should be here. So let's delay maybe 4,000 seconds. Millisecond, that is 4,000 milliseconds, which is 4,000 seconds. Now this must be a task. Let's have action results. and that will be return okay. Alright, so here we want to delay for, okay, here you want to select 20 of these in here. Okay, so now that we have this, let's see. If I run this again, you know, the service here, it is not. Okay, so we have one. The service here, the API, external service, is not in a running mode. So definitely it's going to have an issue in there. But for local, it's going to work. So we have two methods in here with different DIs with the same implementation. Now read from local, we must get 1 to 10. Read from external, we must have an error because the server is not running. Let's see. So breakpoint is hitting here. Let's remove the breakpoint. Continue on. Continue on. And now we have our 1 to 10. So you can see we have it, our 1 to 10 in here. Now let's have a look with the external. So you can see that here we have an error. No connection could be made because the machine refuses, because the machine is not running. The server is not running. So we can quickly run that and check it out. So from here, external service, debug, start with that debugging. Let's make it run. And we're going to check again. Okay, so you can see now it is running. So when you make another request, let's see if we're able to get that. And there you go. Now you can see we are having it from the external link. Now this is giving us from 1 up to 20. You see? 1 up to 20. And there you have it. So we've explored the powerful new features in .NET 8 that enhance dependency injection, making it more flexible and easier to manage multiple service implementation in your web API project. So by leveraging these improvements, you can streamline your code, reduce boilerplate, and focus on building robust and scalable applications. I hope this video has given you a clear understanding of how to take advantage of these new features. Whether you are dealing with multiple payment processes, different login services, or any other scenario requiring multiple implementations on a single interface, .NET 8 has you covered. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more in-depth tutorials and updates on the latest in .NET development. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I do upload a new content or video. And as always, if you have any question too, you can leave it at the comment section as well. Thank you for watching and happy coding.